Welcome once again to Commander by Dayton. Today's video was brought to us by Patreon supporter Squishy. Huge thanks to Squishy and the rest of my Patreon supporters. Squishy reached out asking for a $50 to $100 upgrade guide on their new copy of Corrupting Influence, the Abzan pre-constructed deck from Phyrexia All Will Be One. But before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel and it's free. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. The pre-constructed deck is led by Ixhel, Scion of Atraxa. Ixhel is a 4-mana 2/5 legendary Phyrexian angel with Flying, Vigilance, and Toxic 2. Additionally, at the beginning of our end step, each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters exiles the top card of their library face down. We may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and we may spend mana as if it were any color to cast those spells. The key word here is play, which means if we steal lands from our opponents, we can play them on our next turn. So we want to poison each of our opponents quickly so that we're basically drawing an extra 3 cards every turn. Fortunately, there are lots of cards that already do that in the pre-constructed deck, as well as a few proliferate effects. So poison counters both draw us cards and serve as our win con. Now the deck is already in a pretty good position. Compared to our normal checklist, the deck has 38 lands and 12 pieces of ramp for a total of 50, right on target. 11 pieces of card advantage counting our commander, 11 pieces of interaction or spot removal, 5 board wipes, a little heavy so I'll want to cut some from here, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, 1 sudden I win card in Noxious Assault. Which, to be fair, isn't much of a win con, but it's better than not having one at all. It's also nicer than Triumph of the Hordes, but I digress. Overall, I really like what WotC has done with this precon. I think it just needs a little tweaking to make it perform better. So to start, I wanted to cut Mycosynth Fiend for Tyrannix Rex. Squishy was fortunate enough to crack a showcase version of Tyrannix Rex, and was looking for a home for it. Next up, we'll be cutting Carrion Call for Necrogen Rot Priest. Now, 5 board wipes is excessive, so we'll be cutting Fumigate and Culling Ritual. I actually wanted to keep Culling Ritual in the deck, but Squishy messaged me as I was writing the script and told me they pulled the card from it to put it in another deck. So I recommended replacing it with Assassin's Trophy, because having more cards to kill Solemnity, which shuts down our deck if it hits the table, and Ghostly Prison type effects would be a good thing. We'll be replacing the other board wipe with Eternal Witness. Now, most of our card advantage is pretty good, but I'm not really liking Caress of Phyrexia in this deck, so we'll replace that with Timeless Witness. Our mana ramp isn't bad, but I did want to cut a single Plains for a Kodama's Reach, as well as a Commander's Sphere for 3 visits, and Phyrexian Atlas for Rampant Growth. We do have a few typed lands in the precon, so 3 visits will help us to get those onto the battlefield. Speaking of lands, I'm not really a fan of the temples, so we'll be replacing them with check lands. So, all told, this is what our deck will look like now that we're done. Total cost comes to $35, which isn't bad. But Squishy has been a long-time supporter, and I wanted to add a little something extra, just in case he loves this deck and wants to put some more money into it. So if budget isn't a concern, I recommend cutting Venomous Brutalizer for Vorinclex Monstrous Raider, and Merciless Eviction for Skithiryx the Blight Dragon. But both of these are expensive Magic cards, and when combined they are well outside the budget I was given. I did make the suggestion to Squishy along with the warning, and they were grateful for the suggestions. Do you have a pre-constructed commander deck that you've upgraded in the past? Or do you buy them and rip them apart like I usually do? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Dayton. One of the tiers is specifically set up for Commander. For only $25, I will build you a custom Commander deck based around your specifications, and even do a deck video on it. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Muffins, Marcus, Phoenix of Ice, Squishy, Brett, Roxy, Brian, Josh, Sean, Olton, Richard, Pob Zombie, Ing, and Michael. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander Deck videos often, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Also, if you're a fan of anime and manga like I am, feel free to check out my other channel, Musings by Danon. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.